Menace to sobriety. Just a menace. Just a menace.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety with your host with the most, Dan O'Reilly, aka Dapper Laughs, aka the Fridge Freezer Lemon Squeezer, Ebenezer, Do As You Please, a MasterCard Visa. Listen guys, I've got a wicked podcast for you here. This is 10 things I do to stay sober. 10 things that I do to stay sober. This is real stuff. I'm a mad one for making lists, for sticking to schedules and you know, having structure. It really sorts me out. I'm ADHD, so I'm all over the place otherwise, but I'm going to get into that. But I just wanted to let you know, this is probably the last podcast from home. They've been, I don't know, some people have loved them, some people haven't, but we're back in the studio, I think, from next week with my new co-host, permanently, I hope, Kirk Norcross. I like chopping things up and seeing what works. I'm never sort of emotionally attached to doing one thing. I like to jazz it up, test things out, be creative. So I'm still going to do these ones from home because some people have enjoyed them. And I can have a bit more of a personal approach to what I'm doing. But I want to up the entertainment and I want to give it a little bit more comedy while also focusing on the mental well-being and the sobriety stuff. But enough of all that. Here we are. Stick with this. If you're sober or you're planning on going sober, if you're sort of sober curious, then yeah, have a listen. Listen, if you're anything like me, you know, there's loads of different sort of levels to people's issues and problems, and I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't know if alcohol really was my big problem. But once I started drinking, I wanted to absolutely get hammered. But I never, you know, wanted to drink every day. So, you know, I know there's people out there that were, you know, alcohol and drug dependent, and you know, and I always felt a little bit guilty about doing this podcast or going and doing certain things and talking about sobriety because, you know, I wasn't waking up and drinking a bottle of vodka. But I mean, alcohol was, you know, there was so many excuses to drink for me. And that's why I got so much spare time now that I'm sober. But I always felt a bit guilty because I thought there was level, you know, that you was either an alcoholic or you're not. You either have a problem. And now I realise that, you know, you don't have to be the true sense of the word in regards to being an alcoholic. Like, you know, like the lady that I met from the Sober Diaries, she said, you know, she was just having a bottle of wine a night, but it was, you know, it was catching up on her mental stability and all of that. And for me, it was a couple of times during the week, the weekends, but heavy binge drinking, heavy sessions. And I think the real destructive thing for me was the cocaine. You know, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it anymore. But yeah, the coke was so bad for me, man. I mean, obviously when I was doing it, I thought I was having a good time, but that good time, you know, the truth of it is I used to get anxiety thinking about whether or not I was going to do it that night with certain crowds I was going out with, you know, and I'd have a burning want to do it some nights, you know, some nights it wouldn't even cross my mind, but some nights I'd really want to do it. And then we'd do it and then everything would get awkward, you know, the conversations would get weird, people would get paranoid, and ultimately I'd end up on my own doing it, or you know, whatever, and then not sleeping all night, and then the horrors the next day, and the arguments for missing things and not doing things, and it really fucked my mental health. It turned me into an absolute, oh man, I don't know, but I was, if you compare who I am now to who I was a year ago or 9 months ago, let's say in Marbella, when everything kind of went wrong for me, you know, I was a paranoid wreck. I thought the world was against me. Everyone hated me. I thought, you know, my wife was out to get me. I was a paranoid, angry, furious wreck. And now I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm like a sexy little chilled out, don't know, fit geezer, mate. I don't know. I'm like, you know, but it's always there. The sesh gremlin's always there for me, so you've got to be careful. So I have to stay sober. That's my thinking. I'm never, you know, it very easily something could happen in my life that would send me back down that road. And I'm a true believer that coming back from going again would be even harder, because I went sober before, went back to it, and coming back from that and kicking it again, and the ferocity of the sessions and the mental breakdowns and everything was so much heavier the second time round. It was almost like I knew I had to go sober again, so I wanted to consume as much drugs and alcohol as I could before. But there's a picture of me behind here at my stag do in Marbella. That was a good time. That was a heavy sesh right there that day as well. But good. There's some positive memories with it, you know. So That's why I always say I'm never gonna try and stop other people doing what they're doing. And I'll never tell other people to go sober unless it was, unless it was affecting their mental health or their home life with their family or their work life. If they're having the occasional binge and they can handle it, then fine, but not me, man, not me. So I have to physically work on being sober. So I thought I'd write out and list the 10 things that I do to stay sober and share them with you. And as I was doing it, I just realized how important they are to me and to my life now, and to staying focused and ultimately to my happiness. That is the key, because what you get back with sobriety, and I'm starting to sound like one of them twatty guru people, but the truth is when you go sober, you get everything that alcohol promised you but never delivered. When you go sober, you get everything that alcohol promised you but never delivered. I love that saying, because I always used to think, I'm going to go out and have a good time. It's going to be great. If I have a sesh, whatever, I deserve it. And, it's going to be good. And it is for a little while. And then it's fucking horrors, isn't it? It's pure murder. It's everything falls apart, But sobriety, it just gets better and better and better and better. I mean, even just a month ago to where I am now, when I hit, I think it was when I'd hit 8 months. I'm not sure where I'm at now, but it doesn't feel so long ago. I was panic stations, I was up and down and all over the place. And yeah, man, I went to my first meeting. I might as well share that. I spoke to somebody quite well known quite well known person, got in touch with me and said that they can see that I was struggling, even though I was portraying that I was being very positive, but I was still using quite self-loathing language in one of my videos. In one of my videos, I was just saying, the weekends are really tough because you remember all the bad stuff that you've done and how horrible you used to be, and the mistakes you made. So the weekends are tough to have. And I was at a really weird stage in my journey, because I was proud and happy to be sober, but I was fucking struggling. Do you know what I mean? It was, and now I feel like I've kind of just turned that corner. I started going to meetings, which I don't really want to talk about too much because it's private. I think it's very private, but it's a positive thing. But here's 10 other things. Okay, here is 10 things I do to stay sober, right? And this is the work. This is my personal work. Now, this is personal to me. I didn't put this one in it, but I'm going to talk about it a second, because it caused quite a bit of controversy on the Menace to Sobriety Instagram. If you don't follow the Menace to Sobriety Instagram, jump on there, because there's like 30,000 people on there, I think. But on the Menace to Sobriety Instagram, I shared a video. I think people find it quite weird when I do a comedy video and I share it to that. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't see me as a comedian. They've only learnt about me as this sober guy. So when they see me doing comedy, sometimes they're a little bit shocked. But yes, so one of the things I do to stay sober, but I didn't put this in the top 10, but I'm going to say it before I get into it, is I drink non-alcoholic beers. My fridge is stacked full of Heineken Zeros, but also in my fridge is normal beers. It's still in there. My missus drinks them, right? And when the in-laws come over and anyone comes over, they're there. I'm a firm believer of doing the hard work. Do you know what I mean? Being able to look at alcohol for what it is. Some people enjoy it, some people, and it's not good for some people. It was a part of my life that's gone. I'm not going to run from pubs and run away from it and scream at people drinking. That's just not me. I want to face my shit. But everyone works in different ways. And like I said, my alcoholism and my addiction was habitual, or no, what's the word, was like bingy, so other people that had alcohol dependency, or people that are dependent on alcohol, the sight of it, the smell of it, or anything could be a lot more devastating to you than it is to me. So I'm just talking from my personal experience here. Alcohol-free beers help me, man. Like if I'm in a pub, beer garden, I feel awkward. It's just the way I am. I feel awkward if I ain't got a beer in my hand. And I like the taste of beer, maybe one or two. I used to be able to drink 10 pints. I don't know how I used to be able to do that, because I start getting bloated. What I do is the alcohol that I wanted in me, not the beer. But it makes me feel better. It eases that anxiety. It makes me feel like, oh yeah, I'm fitting in. You might be called that weak or whatever, but it did split opinion a little bit. But alcohol-free beers sort me out. I had one last night. I sat down to finish doing some edits on the script. The kids were playing outside. The sun was shining, and I thought, I fancy a beer. So I had one, Whereas I went through a long stage of sort of mourning not being able to have beer, and I'm never going to enjoy a cold beer in the sun again. And that's just bollocks, man, because you can enjoy a cold beer in the sun. It's just the alcohol you don't need to have. Do you know what I mean? It's the alcohol, because I know the alcohol leads to the cocaine. So if I get rid of the alcohol, then there's no chance of the cocaine. For me, this is my personal journey. But that's one of the things I do to stay sober, but it's not in my top 10. Here's my top 10. So, in at number 1, the top 10 things that I do to stay sober is, and I have to redo this every now and then. I have to say this to myself every now and then when I have little wobbly days or whatever, is I have to accept that my life, I've written these down, so I'm just reading them. I accept that my life and my lifestyle has changed. I just accept it. My whole life has changed. Just accept it, man. And not only accept that your life has changed, applaud it. Be happy with it. You've turned a corner, man. What sort of fucking life would you have if you was like that the whole way through it, just the same, the whole way through? You never made no progress, no changes, tried new things. Man, I've been on the piss for fucking 25 years, I think. 25, maybe nearly 30 years. How old am I? 25, let's say 25 years. Yeah? I've been on the piss for that long, doing bugle, getting drunk. And my lifestyle has completely changed, and I'm happy about that. I'm proud of that my lifestyle's changed. I've grown up. I'm not. I don't have to succumb to weak impulses anymore. But yeah, except my life has changed. The circles have changed, and what I do for fun has changed, and how I spend my time has changed. And look at how better it is. So the first thing I always do is I go, when I'm wobbling or I'm thinking about things, or things feel alien to me or not right, which they do, because all of a sudden, when you go sober, you're thrown into a brand new life, man, with brand new problems, brand new emotions, brand new everything. Honestly, it hits you like a fucking freight train, all the different questions, and, the truth of it is, this is the best way that I look at it. The truth of it is, when those fucking wanky posh people go, I'm going on a gap year to find myself. Yeah, I always used to think, what the fuck? Look, yourself is right there, geezer. You can see yourself right there. What you fucking going on about? But no, what I mean is find themselves. Who are they? Who have they? What's the shells, the layers they've been putting out there? And that's what sobriety is. When you go sober, you are left with yourself. You strip all the layers back, and it's just you. There's no hiding from it. You can't get obliterated, smashed, or fucking calm yourself down, or hide, or numb the pain, or nothing. It's there on the surface. Fucking embrace it, man. Get to know yourself. Find out your flaws. Try and rectify them. It's like treat yourself as an old house that you're doing up, that you're going back in and you're fucking redoing the foundations. You're getting the fucking brickwork sorted out. You're going to put a new kitchen, bathroom in, and in the end, you're going to be worth more, and you're going to fucking look better and be healthier and happier. That's number 1. Number 2. I've got to replace my dopamine hits. Number 2 is replace your dopamine hits, right? So, I think there's a link, there's a link between ADHD and addiction. I think it's something like 80% of people with ADHD suffer addiction problems, and ADHD people have got lower dopamine levels, right? So I understand that the hit that I get from alcohol and cocaine and stuff like that will seem stronger to me, because I have naturally low dopamine levels, so that boost is more intense. From alcohol, you get a lot of dopamine from alcohol. It's not like when you rip a line of gear and you're instantly off your fucking nut like that. You feel it straight away, and the dopamine's flying through your veins. You don't realise that alcohol, the reason why they call it a social lubricant is because it calms you down. It gives you a slow feeling of dopamine, which makes you feel good, and then you feel safe that you're in a nice environment. And it's the dopamine that makes you fucking lose your inhibitions, right? So you can say what you want to say and do what you want to do and act the way you wanted to act. So you're getting part of the addiction, or part of the alcoholism, or part of it's the dopamine, man. You're used to getting a reward. That's exactly what it is. You're working till the end of the week, or working all day, and you get a reward. And you link the alcohol to your dopamine, but really it's a nice little dopamine hit. It's like smoking a joint and feeling mellow, I guess. But you got to replace those dopamine hits. You can't just starve yourself of those feel good factors. You just got to find positive ways to get them. So for me, and I'll talk about this again later on, but for me, my dopamine comes from exercise, right? So I'm off me nut in the morning. You've probably seen, if you follow me on my Instagram. If you don't, go and add me now. I do stories all the time where I just sort of follow my journey, and I look at when I compare them to last year, it's fucking mental. But still, they're up and down with my moods. You know, sometimes I'm on there going, wow, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's go. Let's fucking have a good day. I'm up fucking super early, getting my dopamine in, and I box, so it's hardcore fucking training, right? And I come out of that and I'm fucking vibrating, mate, with dopamine. I feel it. I feel good. Everything feels good. And the beautiful thing about dopamine that you get from exercise is you don't get a massive come down. It don't drop off. You end up normal later on in the day, but it slowly tapers off. You know, it's natural. There's you get the endorphins and dopamine and loads of shit. So you got to replace it. All right, number 3. Read. So this is a big one for me. I'm just going to see if I can find it. I can see it sticking out there. Hold on a second. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, number 3, read. So reading is a massive one for me, man. I know a lot of people would be like, what? You can read. I'm just having a sip of my drink. Hold on. But yes, reading is a huge one for me because you got to do your research, man. You got to understand what's going on in your mind and your body. And there's one book that changed my life, right? I'm not going to lie. I've read a lot of books. I've interviewed a lot of people that have bought books out. But there is one book that changed my life, and my counsellor gave it to me. And I read it a couple of years ago, and I went sober for the first time ever in my life, yeah? So I'd always been trying to... You know, I used to keep a diary myself, and I used to write in my diary when I'd use give or when I drunk, and it was shocking to me. I'd look at, fucking hell, a couple of times a week and 3 times a week, sometimes more, and I was like, fuck me, mate, I've got a problem. You know, I always thought I had a bit of an issue. Well, it was difficult for me to think I had an issue when everyone around me was doing the same thing. Do you know what I mean? That's when it's hard to see yourself as having an issue when everyone's doing it, right? But, you know, I was having extensive, long, hard mood swings, and I had to go to counselling because I get into these states where I just self-destruct. And it was normally on a come down or after I'd been drinking, heavy drinking session. But I'd be like, you know, I'd walk out and leave and, you know, and just mad head, self-destruct, the world's against me, fuck everything off. And it was bad. I was having bad episodes. And this was a couple of years ago. So I went to see this counsellor for a long time. And she said, never come to me if you're drinking or you've been using drugs. So I stopped seeing her when I started drinking again. But she was brilliant. And she gave me a few books. But when she gave me this book, it changed my life. Honestly, I swear to God. I read it and then I've done a massive stint sober. It's called Alan Carr, right? It's by Alan Carr, and it's called No More Hangovers. Let me show it up there. No More Hangovers. The reason why this book was so good for me is because, one, I find it difficult to read. I mean, I can read, but I mean difficult to focus and read. And it's so small. It's like it's got a headline at the top of the page, then a little section, headline, a little section. Every page is something different. You know, so like this, and it gives you all of these analogies to just plant in your mind like this. That alcohol is a poison. It is produced by letting fruit or other vegetable matter decay, which is why I find it somewhat absurd when wine merchants describe their wares as cheeky or adorable. They're talking about a powerful poison. Half a pint of pure alcohol would kill you. Why do you think it makes people vomit? Throwing up might not be particularly present, but don't knock it. It saves your life. So it's got all these things. Alcohol is a diuretic. A diuretic is a drink that makes you thirsty. That's why after binging, you wake up at 3 a.m. with mouth like a dry riverbed and one thing on your mind, water. If alcohol quenched your thirst, the last thing you would need after all that liquor is even more. The fact that some people can drink 16 pints of beer proves that alcohol creates thirst. You couldn't drink 16 pints of water if you tried. Fucking mad, isn't it? And it's all these little things, yeah. It's all these little things, and it shows you as well how we're tricked into drinking. Alcohol is everywhere. It's consumed by 90% of UK adults, but few stop to question their assumptions about booze. The media doesn't help when they circulate misleading phrases such as alcohol and drugs. A better expression would be alcohol and other drugs, or just drugs, because alcohol is a drug. Our society marginalises most kinds of drug taking, but with alcohol, the roles are reversed. People question, why don't you take it? If you don't drink in this society, many people assume you're a freak. So this book for me was brilliant because it was like loads of nuggets of information that slowly chipped away of my thinking about alcohol, because I fucking put alcohol on a pedestal. I thought it was the fucking best thing. I thought I couldn't live without it. How can I live without the one thing that fucking I enjoy? And by the end of reading it, you're like, what the fuck? You know, so yeah, I could be reading that all day, but that's a good one. If you're thinking of going sober, go and check that out. No More Hangovers. Love Yourself Sober. That's a good one. One for the Road. Haven't read it yet, Dave. One for the Road. That's a good one, though. I've heard it's brilliant. I am going to read it. Alcohol Explained. This is all about... Alcohol Explained is a great book. This is all about the chemicals in your body. This is a little bit more about the science behind alcohol. That's a great one to read as well. And Sober Diaries. I've lent that one to someone else, but Sober Diaries is a good one as well. So read, man. Learn about it. How do you expect to beat something that you know nothing about? That'd be like fucking boxing and not knowing who your opponent is, yeah? All right. Number 4, celebrate the milestones. Look forward to them. Celebrate the milestones and look forward to them. It's quite controversial counting the days, and whenever I put up like 100 days, 50 days, or when I've done 100 days or 6 months, 8 months, some people are like, man, why are you counting? It's like you're waiting to lose. It's like, why are you counting your days? Because, you know, it's like you're setting yourself up to lose. You know, how many days you've done without it means you're going to go back to it. But I don't see it like that. I see it as a celebration, because I can remember very much so being sat on my arse, drunk, hungover and probably still drunk, the world around me crumbling, falling apart. Everything had turned to shit. It was a bad fucking rock bottom for me. Sitting there going, right, I guess this is day one. I guess this is day one again. I'm going to start again. I guess this is day one. And once I accepted that it was day one, then the counting the days really fucking helps me, man. I was like, oh yeah, 7 days, man. I'm doing all right. 8 days, 15 days, 20 days. Oh mate, 50 days. When I got to 50 days, I was like, I thought I'd fucking smashed it. And I'm filming off my phone, but I don't know where I'm at, 8 months, 200 and something days, I don't know. But the more and more you do, you know, the more you get used to sobriety, the easier it feels. You should be careful not to say it's easy though, but the easier it feels, and the more you can celebrate. And also, you should celebrate. What it's personal growth. You're keeping a record of your personal growth. Do you know what I mean? So count the days, embrace it. That's what I do, and I check it every now and then. I don't look at it every day. Sometimes I go a week without looking at it, but when I do look at it, it fills me full of fucking joy. So yeah, embrace that. Right, number 6, start your days early, man. Number 6, I'll tell you why I start my days early. This is the big one. One, I start my days early, but just because I like the feeling of getting ahead of everyone else. You know what I mean? That I've put the work in. It motivates me, and it sets me up for the day. You know, I struggle with my mental health. I genuinely have up days, down days. I thought I was bipolar at one point, but sometimes I've got to really work hard on having a good day. You know, I've got to do a certain amount of things to stop the overthinking, the worry. That's my thing. Overthinking, worry, thought loops on fucking stupid things. And when I start my day early and I get my workout in, I'm almost guaranteeing a good day. But not just that. The big reason why I start my days early is because I want to go to sleep at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. By 8, 9 o'clock, I'm in bed. And that's when I'd be doing all my drinking in the evenings. So, you know, you don't want to be sat up at night fucking twiddling your thumbs, you know, looking on it through Instagram at everyone else on the smash, or, you know, feeling like you're missing out, or like, you know, wondering how you can get to sleep, especially if you use alcohol and drink and drugs to get to sleep. So yeah, man, start your days early, and then hopefully you'll be absolutely annihilated. You know, my alarm's set for 4 o'clock, 4:30, depending on when my trainer wants to train, if it's 5 or 5:30. But I open my eyes before my alarm goes off now. I think it's fucking brilliant. I think I'm an absolute legend. I go ping, open my eyes, have a look, and it'll be just before my alarm. And I'll always turn my alarm off. It's very rare the alarm wakes me up. And that is just fucking routine, man. That is just habitual routine, doing the same thing over and over and over, and your body, your mind gets used to it. And I love it. I love being up early. I think it makes me better than everyone else. I don't mind being egotistical about that. The pure fact that I can get up at 4:30, start my fucking day, get my workout in before anyone else wakes up, makes me feel like I'm better than everyone else. And what's wrong with having that feeling and having that self-esteem? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you're going to become confident. Confidence breeds progress. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be confident in yourself in order to take risks and to stay motivated and to keep pushing forward. So ultimately, me getting up early don't just make me look sexy, it makes me feel sexy, and then I do sexy things. So more importantly, for my sobriety, Friday nights I'm like, I can't give a fuck, I'm going to bed, man. I'm up early Saturday sparring, so go out if you want. I'm going to bed, mate. Ping, bit of TV, little bit of chocolate. I ain't going to lie to you. Sometimes I have myself a little fucking, all right, I'll be honest with you, I have chocolate every night in bed, but what do you want me to do? Like I say to my missus, what the fuck do you want me to do? When my missus hears that little bag of chocolate or whatever I've got opening, she looks over at me and she's like, all right, let's all fucking give over. Were you having another one? Are you having a fucking another one? I'm like, would you rather me be opening a bag of gear or what, babe? Would you rather me be here doing fucking bumps like that and then wanking myself silly, babe? Do you know what I mean? Would you rather me down the pub having 10 pints or 4 fucking chocolate hobnobs? Yeah? So wind your fucking neck in. Obviously, I don't swear or raise my voice because I get my head kicked in. But, you know what I'm saying? Fuck it. We're all allowed a vice. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of chocolate. I'll probably get told off for saying that now because I'm going to create a load of fucking hobnob addicts. But I'd rather you be fucking necking a load of biscuits than fucking sniffing MCAT. All right? Anyway, number 7. This is a big one. Number 7. I label my triggers, man. I love this one. Label my triggers. Get to know them. Label your triggers and get to know them. Become friends with your triggers, man. For those of you that don't know what triggers are, so triggers, and I believe this was my real turning point with my addictions. My real turning point was seeing the triggers for what they are. Triggers. They're not me. You know, it's mad if you think about it. You know, I had sitting in this very room at that desk over there, my wife and my children. I love saying wife, by the way. I'm just newly married and I love saying it. My good pal Mazza got married the other day and I'm like, you're going to love saying the word wife. But anyway, me and my wife was away. My kids were away for the weekend. I didn't really see it as a problem. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to crack on doing my normal stuff. The sun was out and a couple of my mates were in the WhatsApp group talking about meeting up for a beer. I was just sitting at my desk and I was like, fucking hell, man. Oh, mate, no one would know if I went for a beer. No one would know, man. And this is what my thought process went from. My thought process went, oh, my mates are down the pub having a drink, to, oh, no one would know if I had a few beers. Maybe I could have a sesh. Fuck it, I'll stay in. I'll just get on the beers and the fucking gear here. No one will know. And I stopped myself and I went, wow. Fucking, you went from that to that. You went from, you want to go to a pub garden to getting a load of gear around your house on your own. And spending the whole weekend sniffing gear. So what I did 2 things. First of all, I talked to myself about it. I was like, what happened there, man? And I sat in my office on my own, inside my own head. And I looked at all the triggers. And what was it? It was the sun. It was a Friday. Right? So the sun was a trigger. The sun was out, the beer garden. That's a trigger. I was like, right, bang, labeling that. That's a trigger. That's going to trigger me in the future. And then every time after that, when the sun would be out and I think about it, I go, ping, trigger. Hey, you ain't tricking me, you fucking little shit fucker. Hey, you're a trigger. That's a trigger. That ain't me. Like, because you think it's you in your head going, oi, Dan. Come on, let's have a couple of drinks, mate. It's just me and you. You're like, hello, buddy. I ain't seen you in ages. And then he's like, yeah, let's have a couple of drinks, me and you, mate. Me and you. And you're like, yeah, we're buddies, aren't we? He's like, yeah. Then a bag of gear and a brass. We can blow it up their arseholes. And you're like, what the fuck? Where'd you go? come from? It ain't your pal. That's not you. That's a trigger, right? So I labelled my triggers. 1 was the sun. Number 2 was it was Friday. Number 3 was the wife and the kids were away. Whenever the kids and the wife used to go away, I used to have mad sessions, because there was no guilt and shame, or not as much guilt and shame in the morning facing your family. So I labelled my triggers and I start to understand them, start to see what my triggers are. I've got lots of different triggers. Everyone's going to have different triggers. Another one of my triggers was getting on the train and going up into London, especially towards the end of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I was on the train up into London having meetings, it was party time. There's certain people that I would see, certain places that would trigger me. Do you know what I mean? People would trigger me. Places, Soho, it's like a den of, sordid area. It's just fucking, I used to go in Soho House and places like that and bump into industry people and they'd all have gear on them. Everything would be kicking off. The film and TV industry is filled full of debauchery, which I very much enjoyed. But, time moves on and I'm not weak to my triggers anymore. I see what my triggers are. And unfortunately, I see this is a tough one because it's very hard to not become sort of judgmental when you get sober. Because, other people might not be wrecking their lives. They might just be enjoying themselves. So, it's hard. You shouldn't be judgmental. You really shouldn't. But it is difficult not to be because now I see people, not some people that I know have got problems and some of my, people around me that I know have got issues. I don't really see them as, enjoying themselves. I see them as not being able to control their urges, and succumbing to their triggers. Anger is a big trigger for me. If something used to piss me off and make me angry, I used to want to get fucking annihilated. Big events in my life for triggers, my wedding, having my kids, big responsibility being bestowed upon me or triggered me and turned me to self-destruction, very regretfully. So, anger, I'm sure I haven't lost anyone since I've been sober, but, my dad passing away turned my alcohol and drug consumption, especially my cocaine consumption, turned it right up a notch. My coping mechanism went into overdrive when my dad passed away. I was on self-destruct. I was happy to, be on my way out. It was just one thing too far for me. I spoke about it loads of times anyway. But Shelley was pregnant with my first daughter, Neve, luckily, and I had that motivation. But anyway, I digress. Keep an eye on your triggers. Label your triggers. See your triggers for what they are. All right. Number 8. Remember the bad times, man. Remember the bad times. It's number 8 is remember the bad times. And I've made a list of some of the bad times here for me. The arguments with the wife and the family, the come downs, the mental health destruction that was associated with the session, the come downs and everything, being fat. Okay, that was a bad time for me. I shot a film, Mr. Kiss, which is due to come out, and I'm severely overweight in it. The heaviest I've ever been. I was drinking a hell of a lot. I had my wedding, I had the honeymoon. I was eating. I wasn't even looking at exercise. It's disgusting, really, to look back on myself like that. So remember the bad times, man. It's all well and good as thinking, we can't get on the smash, or we can't escape. We can't have fun, and we're going to miss out on stag do's and and certain friendship groups are changing, circles are changing. I'm not going to be able to spend all night chatting shit with that geezer or whatever. But the truth is, the bad times outweighed the good times 100%. If you was to like get an alien from outer space to come down and have a little chat with you, and you're like, yeah, man, for fun, I get myself absolutely fucked where I can't see where I'm going, I can't walk properly, and I can't really control what I say and my actions, and the next day I'm fucking embarrassed by it. It's I've upset people, I'm aggressive, rude, it's cost me a load of money, and I can't do nothing positive for the next few days, and it's making me slightly insane. They'd be like, that's what you do for fun? What the fuck? But it's fucking society, it deems it normal. Our culture deems it normal. Do you know what I mean? I was swept up in it for years, and I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie, it's weird. It's a psychotic way of enjoying yourself. But you got to remember the bad times. You've got to focus on the bad times every time your mind tries to trick you, or that little voice or the trigger comes in and goes, hey, you're right. What you doing? Hey, you fancy a little fucking line, a little bump? Yeah, come on. Just remember how fat, ridiculous and stupid you behaved. And it'll pass quick. Number 9. I work on my mental health, man. This is a big one and I'm passionate about this. I work hard on my mental health. But not just mental health. What number 9 should be, it is actually, look, I've highlighted it. Number 9 is work on your mental strength. So I work on my mental strength. And by mental strength, I'm talking about everything that we just spoke about, I'm talking about overcoming, that it takes mental strength to not act on impulse, right? So like I always put it to boxing, just because boxing has been fucking entwined in my sobriety journey, but I work on my fucking right hook, twisting my body into it, work on the muscles, work on everything, like sharpen it, make it stronger, harder. I can feel it snap now when I hit it. I know it's stronger, but it takes a lot of work. So that when I need to smash it into the punch bag or hit someone, it's there, it's ready to go. And that's what you got to do with your mental strength. And I work on my mental strength outside of when I need it. I don't wait until my triggers kick off and then think I'm going to do some work on it. I do work on it all the time because I understand what my problem is. Alcohol and drugs was the solution. Alcohol and drugs was the solution. This is what I've learned. The alcohol and the drugs was the solution. What was the problem? Well, the problem was that I couldn't cope with my life and I couldn't cope with my stresses. I couldn't cope with whatever had gone on before. I couldn't cope. And the problem was why I couldn't cope was because my mind wasn't strong enough to cope. So in order to cope, I used alcohol and drugs. So the problem was alcohol and drugs. The solution was alcohol and drugs, but the problem was not being able to cope because I wasn't mentally strong enough. So the work is working on your mental strength. And how do I do that? By putting myself in uncomfortable situations I don't want to be in. Pay attention to this. I put myself in uncomfortable situations that I do not want to be in, and I overcome it and I stay in it. What are these hard situations that I don't want to be in? What are the tough situations that I don't want to be in? Well, it might be a ice cold bath. It might be, it might be a fucking 10K run. You have to find what's uncomfortable for you. So I'll tell you what, one of the biggest, most uncomfortable situations that I don't like to be in until I'm in it is sparring. Fighting people that are better, stronger, quicker than me, that hurt me. How do I know they're better than me? Because I feel physical pain. And I put myself in that situation, not just to get better at boxing, not just to get faster, stronger, to work on my fitness. I put myself in that situation so that when my mind's telling me to do something that I don't want to do, when my mind's telling me to get out of the ring, to fake an injury, to say you need a shit or something, or to pull a hammy or whatever, to make an excuse of why you're not getting there or not even get in your car and go to the gym, that's when the work comes in. No. You ain't playing no tricks on me, bro. You're a pussy. You are a pussy. And like the cold water dip stuff, I love the cold water dip stuff because it is instant work on your mental strength. Straight away, you have to put that fucking work in. You don't have to get all the way down the gym to put the work in. You get in and straight away, every fucking thing in your mind, every fibre of your body says, get out of here now. This is fucking horrible. And if you'll overcome that, nah. I don't listen to you, mate. Look at if I listened to you, I'd be fucked. If I listened to you, I'd still be fucking sniffing gear and drinking, ruining my fucking family. I probably wouldn't have a family if I listened to you. You're a bitch, mate. You are a bitch. There's someone else in charge here. I'm taking over from here. This is where I fucking am. This is where I'm living. Put that work in. Another way to put that work in as well, if you can't get out, if you can't box, if you can't run, if you can't go to the gym, I'll put that work in at 4:30 in the morning, when I open my eyes and my mind's telling me don't get out of bed, stay in bed, it's nice and warm. Fuck off, bitch. Right? That's when I'm putting the work in. That's the working on my mental strength. You have to find things you don't want to do that your mind is going to tell you not to do, that is going to be for your greater good. Right? You understand what I'm saying? It's going to be for your greater good, and your mind, you have to train your mind to pick the option that's better, not to pick the easy way out. And you keep on doing that. When you get a little trigger, when the sun shines out and you want to have a beer, you're like, fuck off, mate. I just fucking got my head jabbed off for fucking 9 minutes. Do you know what I mean? This is light work. But You know, you can put the work in different ways, sitting and writing. You know, if you can't go and do all the gym stuff or whatever, for whatever reasons, you don't have the time or you're not physically able, do other things. Writing, you know, writing your gratitude list out, you know, writing a book, knitting, fucking something that you don't want to do that you know will have a positive outcome for you. Yoga, fucking meditation, whatever. What it's about is putting your old mind aside and replacing it with a new strong mind that's committed to doing stuff, and it's all based around well-being. All right, that was a good one. That's why that was in at number 9. And number 10, I just focus on my kids, man. This is the most important one for me. If you haven't got kids, you're gonna have to find something else that you love with every fibre of your body, every passionate thing in your heart, something that means more than anything else to you in the world, and you've got to focus on that. And for me, it's my kids. So my biggest motivation and the top in my list of how I stay sober is by focusing on being a father, you know, because I've got the whole weekend now. I'm present. You know, there's still some things that I want to work on. I want to get off my phone more. That kills me. That pulls at my heartstrings when I'm stuck on my phone and Rue's pulling my hand, daddy, 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 and I snap out of it. I'm like, oh, fucking, what are you doing, man? Get off your fucking phone. And the way that I try and become a better father is simply by being present. You know, you don't have to take them on fancy holidays or take them out and doing stuff all the time. You know, some money, you know, they don't want all that. They want you, you know, to play with them, to talk to them, to find out about them. You know, I'm going to share something very personal to me that I don't know if you want to do this or not, but this is very personal to me. But I ask my kids when we're having dinner, I try and do it every day when I can remember. I say, give me one good thing that happened today and one bad thing that happened today. And the more we do it, the more excited they get into doing it. But it's a great way for them to tell you any bad things that are happening in their lives or any insecurities they got, and what they're interested in, what they like. And I don't know, it breaks my heart. It puts a lump in my throat to think of how things could have gone or may go, or how they were going when I was drinking and everything like that. Because ultimately, when you're hungover, on a come down, or desperate to get down the pub, you ain't thinking of your kids, are you? And alcohol and drugs takes people away from their families. It destroys families. It's so true. I don't know where all this shit comes from, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where this shit comes from. I don't know how I'm so fucking funny, sexy, and knowledgeable. I don't know, but all I can say is my wife is one lucky fucking lady, because I'm also... Anyway, I'll stop it there. But yes, all right, so... Do me a favour, if you got all the way to the end of that, let me know which ones struck a chord with you in the comments. Let me know if you're tuned into these things, man, because I get very self-conscious and insecure about numbers and views, and I can see the views on the YouTube video aren't as big as the ones with the guests, but I just want to know that you're still there and you're still tuned in. So either DM me or leave a comment, or comment on one of my videos on Insta. I read all my comments, or leave comments on the YouTube, or DM me or something, because the feedback keeps me motivated, and sometimes I can get uninterested in things and stop doing them. And ultimately, and I love doing this, and I love helping people, and I love sharing my experience. The only thing that makes me stop doing things is my insecurity. If I think, oh, no one's interested in this, then I'll start questioning it, and I'll start doing something else. So, and I really want to stick at it. So give me the feedback. That's all I ask. It makes me feel good about doing it. So let me know in the comments if you stayed to the end and what connected. That was 10 things I do to stay sober, and I might type that up and put that somewhere for you. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed. That was another episode of Menace to Sobriety. Don't forget to get your tickets to my tour, please. I'm going to Plymouth, Bridgewater, St Albans, Middlesbrough, Lancaster, Colchester, Bradford, Chatham, Dorking, Northampton, Blackpool, Whitley Bay, Bury St Edmunds, Ipswich, Salford, Peterborough, Loughborough, Birmingham, Glasgow, Shrewsbury, Coventry, Wimborne, London, Southend, Swindon, the Wirral up near... I think that's in Liverpool, Belfast, Cardiff, Bristol, and Nottingham. And it kicks off in January. And obviously there's loads of stuff in it about my sobriety and my journey. I'm out testing material. Tickets are cheap as chips. You get to see me live. It's my first tour in 10 years. Hit the link. It's in on the video description, or head over to my Instagram. And I love you all. Stay sober, or if you're considering sobriety, check it out. Let me know what connected with you. I love you. Follow me on Instagram. Dapper's Instagram. All right, bye for now. Peace. Oh yes, and don't forget, if you want to come and see me live and meet me, I'm going on tour. The Daniel O'Reilly Out of Character full UK tour kicks off in January 2024 and tickets are on sale right now. I'm going to try and get out and meet as many of you as possible. And of course, I'm going to be bringing the laughs all over the UK. There's 23 dates right now and I'm adding more all the time. Hit the link in the bio and get your tickets now and come have some fun. If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only, but once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety, just a menace, just